And last, just a few continuing thoughts. Believing in yourself. Some of us, as younger directors, we come in and we see the greats, you know, the great band directors, and we're a bit intimidated by them to some degree because we're just getting our feet wet, quote unquote. But understand that we can learn a lot from our younger generation. We can learn a lot from me, myself included, from the 1st through 5, 6-year band directors to younger directors. And this is what even ASBDA members, I'm hoping that you will consider doing in your future, is looking at some of the younger generation, some of the younger folks in your states, and getting them involved in your hierarchy, because they do have something to offer. And you really do, folks. And of course, the veterans like Dwayne's about to ride off into the sunset on his Shetland pony. But even wonderful people like Dwayne have offered so much. But we should honor our past. We should honor the wonderful directors all over the country, and in particular in Florida. But we should also never take for granted our younger folks in this, and they need our mentorship, they need our support, but also they earned college degrees, the same bachelor's degree that we earned, and they at a beginning level are as competent as we are, I think, you know, when you look at comparatively first year. So we have to think about that. And believing in the educational process, I would say the music education process. We are our own worst enemies at some times. You know, we sit and we listen to a performance of an ensemble. What is our first thought while we are listening? Do any of you want to just yell out anything? What are some of the things we're doing? Critical analysis, right? Because we were taught that in school. Instead of celebrating the good, look at this wonderful thing that happened. Listen to that. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, that was beautiful. It's the opposite. It's like DCI. You know, we've got our tick system going. Tick, 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 tick. That's a 2. Tick, 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 tick. That's a 3. You know, and I'm saying that in our future, we have to do more with being supportive of each other. And that's our growth. That's just saying that if an ensemble has a bad day, or if they're not as wonderful as we think, we're going to find something good, and we're going to tell that director, and we're going to tell those students how wonderful they are. You know, it's so hard for some of us in our profession to just simply say, hey, nice job, that was great, I enjoyed that. You know, no approval error. Now, you can't tell a group that has no saxophones, man, your saxophone sounded great. The saxophone sound was wonderful if there are no saxophones. That's just a very light comparison. And expanding your range of interests, knowledge, and experience. Neil, you went on a trip last Neil Jenkins, Taravella. You went to, where did you take your group, Neil? You and Cindy Berry. To Europe for how many weeks? For 16 days. And you talk about a cultural experience when you take, and what's the name of the program, Neil? Florida Ambassadors of Music, and Cindy Berry and Neil Jenkins have coordinated this. And they take students all over Europe for 16 days, and they perform. Can you imagine the transfers that the students are making, the cultural exchange? It's just phenomenal. And this, you will grow tremendously if you're involved in these types of things, folks. And social versus academic, once again, we have to understand, and we have to not cater, but we have to understand the social atmosphere. We have to understand our environment, understand our culture, understand what we're working with. You know, before the music can begin, we have to understand that. Encourage meaningful participation in music. Well, are we mindlessly playing scales, or do we know the value of the scales? Are we teaching our students to take home and assess these types of activities and find value? We have to teach the value. We're teaching the lesson. We're teaching the fingerings. We're teaching the scales. We're teaching how to. But I think, again, we have to, in the future, we have to look at teaching the value of it along with those other things. and lifelong participation of music from elementary through the community bands that we have in the state. We have so many. We're going to get to hear John DeYoung's group next year at our Phi Beta Mu conference. And there's so many community bands in the state that are just wonderful to inspire our young people so that they can continue to participate. But again, meeting them where they are. If we're taking in young people and they're coming into our beginning band and they've never participated in the band program and they don't know anything about instrumental music, and we expect them to adhere to our business as usual, our decades-old system of sit down, take your instrument out, play this, whole note, rest for a measure, whole note, rest for a measure. Well, if the students cannot understand the value of it, if they come from family backgrounds where there's only one parent in the house, where they are living on subsidized income from the government, we have to reach out to those people, and there are a lot of them. And quite frankly, when I use the word minority, I mean literally every culture, every culture. I mean, there are poor people in every walk of life, every race, every creed, every color, and I'm talking about all of them. And we've got to create diversity. We have to be more diverse in our art in order to be competitive with all of the other areas. And trust me, you're looking at one of the most diverse people in the world, by the way, besides Dwayne Hendon. All right, and the creation of unique opportunities. I thought you'd find this a little interesting. In music education, they're just boundless. And some of you have seen a little bit of this before, but I really wanted to add this because I think it's interesting.